I have a hard time trying to define myself. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary to draw a category. You know, I do have academic training, obviously. I have a PhD in art history. I like to work outside of academia, frankly, because academia tends to impose boundaries where I don't think they're necessary. There doesn't have to be a curtain or a wall between art history and anthropology and history, you know, and I like to work cross-disciplinary. There's a complicated history and symbology when it comes to those skeletons. And you have to remember what was going on with the Catholic Church at the time. You know, they had lost half of Europe due to the Protestant Reformation. One of the things the Protestants were opposed to was the Catholic cult of relics, and they had sacked churches and they destroyed the relics. To rebuild their church, the Catholics had to avow everything that was inherently Catholic. But how do you replenish a decimated supply of relics, right? They just don't grow on trees. Well, around this time, underneath Rome, completely by serendipity, they had discovered the old Roman catacombs, because those had been forgotten about and hidden away too. They really existed only in myth and legend, and when they found those, and they found all these old skeletons in those catacombs, they realized, well, these are the people who founded the Catholic faith, you know, the people who were buried under Rome. So any of these people could be among the founding fathers. They could be martyrs who had sacrificed their lives for the faith, or they could have died in a blessed state to God. And this is what they would rebuild the supply of relics with. These bones were what they were going to rebuild the Catholic Church on. So they're more than just something that's visually stunning. They're an important piece of the history of Catholic theology in the 16th and 17th century. And they look so archaic and macabre now. And the reason they covered them in those jewels was literally as a sign of heavenly glory. It was a message to people who come in those churches. It's like, fight with us against this new heresy, which is Protestantism. And this vision of earthly glory, these skeletons covered in jewels, this is a symbol of the heavenly glory that God has in store for all of you who stay firm with Catholicism and all of you who will fight with us against the new heresy. So it's more than something that was visually stunning. It was an important piece of religious propaganda, which did have a very crucial effect locally in firming people's faith in the Catholic Church. To be fair, the Catholic Church as a corporate entity didn't put any real money into this project at all. All the decorations were done locally, but in a way that makes it more compelling and more important. And in a way, the fact that all the decorations and all the funding for those skeletons was done locally, it's what made them so grandiose. Because let's say, you know, I live in this town and these guys in that town have this skeleton, you know, it's a new symbol of their faith and it's a new patron of their town, and they've put so much money into it and the display of it is so grandiose. Well, I'm going to want my city to have something just as good or better. So there's kind of a competitive nature that takes over locally as different monasteries or different churches or different localities will kind of try to outdo one another. And one of the things that compels this whole movement in the visual arts of making these skeletons grandiose is the fact that everybody knows the guy in the next town has one.